Digboi. It's a small oil town, and it's one of the first place in Asia where oil was introduced. So oil was discovered, and so তাতে ডাঙৰ হ'লোঁ সৰুৰ পৰা being a younger child of two. মোৰ দাদা আছিলে, দাদা আৰু মই একেলগে ডাঙৰ হ'লোঁ আমি. Since my father, he was a teacher, so when I was born, that same year he started a school along with some other teachers of the town, which run on a non-profitable trust. It's a school. So I got admitted in that school only, and I grew up in Digboi. In between, we got transferred to Silchar for some period of time, where I got very high, cultural heritage of Rabindranath Tagore, Nazrul Islam. So I learned dance, I learned song and everything, dance, drama, everything. The rich Bengali culture I got in Silchar. And then after we came back to Digboi, we were always we lived in a very culturally rich society. So I was, most of the time I had to face the stage. So I don't have that stage fear. People ask me like, why don't you have that stage fear or something? I have always faced that. And in our school also, extracurricular activities were very much encouraged. So all the time I used to participate in debate competition, extempore speech competition and everything. So from the very beginning I was very active, and also I used to play table tennis, and at one point of time I did win some tournaments also. So I had a very active life, and in studies I didn't spend too much time on studies. I just used to read whatever was necessary. And so when our class 10 result came, at first I didn't believe that it was my result. I was result to come, because in school I never used to excel. But after matriculation, when the result was good, I got more interest to study. And then at my home also, because we were never under any kind of pressure that you have to come first or you have to do this or that. My dad, my mom, they always let us leave, let us venture into whatever we like. We were never in a pressure that you have to become a doctor or engineer or something like that. So I grew up very independently and in a very open society, and as I told, very culturally rich society. And then higher secondary also I did from my own school, Visitors in Secondary School. And after higher secondary, my dad was he was more keen on he wanted me to study engineering, because he himself thought that maths is the main subject, which where you can see the intelligence of a person. But I didn't get very good rank in engineering, so I didn't get in very good institute, so he didn't let me take admission. And at that point of time I studied a lot for my medical entrance, because that was my only resort, I understood. And by God's grace I got through, and I got admission in Assam Medical College. Even in college I used to be very active. I used to, in all the cultural week, college week, I used to participate in everything, and I used to lead everyone. I was in Scouts and Guides also, and there were teachers who used to motivate us a lot. So I did Rajya Puraskar also, we got. I used to come here for hiking and everything. Never did I imagine that I will come and stay in Guwahati only. So my father, he is a renowned teacher in Digboi. Everyone knows him as Das Sir. His name is Sarvinder Das. And my mother is a homemaker. And my elder brother, who is in Mumbai right now, he used to be a very good in quiz, which was one thing that I was never good in. I never had very good general knowledge collection. So he is now established there. He works in an MNC. And after my, during my college only, my marriage was fixed with my husband now. We had an arranged marriage from a common family member. And then after my ring ceremony, immediately after passing my MBBS, I got married. And I got married with Dr. Mallik. He was doing postgraduate in surgery then, and I was doing my MBBS. And we used to take our classes also. So I got a lot of benefit out of that. And in college, food was very bad. As usual, in hostel life, food was very bad. So, but in PG hostel, they used to keep cook, and they used to, so all those kind of advantages I took a lot. So after that, I got married, and soon after I became a mother. during my internship days only. So it was a lot of hardship, because internship is very difficult part of a medical professional, because you have to do 24 hours, 36 hours duty. So I delivered my baby almost at 7.5 months. She was premature and low birth weight. She needed a lot of care, which both my in-laws and my parents helped in. And after marriage, at times I had to go for rural, rural was it was made permanent. It was made compulsory for anyone who is going to appear in the postgraduate examination, that will have to do 1 year of rural, training, posting. So I had to again go to Jagun, which is in Arunachal border, and my kid was she was not even 1 year old that time. So I used to travel every day from Digboy to Jagun, and I was a medical officer there. There also I was bestowed with so much of love amongst the people. Even when I was coming from that Jagun mini PHC, everyone cried so much that my husband used to say that it feels like I'm marrying you, because in your marriage no one cried. So all my patients and everyone, my hospital staff, they used to love me a lot. So I have very fond memories of those days also. After that, I came to Guwahati, and I started preparing for my post-graduation entrance examination. At that time, my husband used to work in Nigrims, Shillong, and I also joined there while preparation. So for very few, I think for only 6 months I stayed there, and then he went to CMC Vellore for his advanced training in kidney transplant. And then again I came back to Guwahati, and then I cracked my post-graduation entrance. I started my MD in physiology in Guwahati Medical College. And since it was too much of academic oriented subject, you have to read and you have to teach the students. So I had some free time. At that time, I started venturing in cosmetology. So after my PG, I then joined VLCC. I actually went there for my own weight loss, because I had gained a lot of weight after my childbirth. So at that time, they told me about, that time only I came to know that this is a branch of medicine science. So after going to VLCC, they got me into cosmetology. They told me that, doctor, you please join us. It is only 2 or 3 hours you will have to come and just see how our patient lose weight and what is the problem, why are they not losing weight. So slowly they transferred me to beauty segment also. In beauty segment, I used to see how doctors used to come from Mumbai and how they used to inject the patient, and they used to transform faces. That fascinated me so much that I really wanted to come into this field. There were patients who wanted to just get their nose reshapen and their lips reshapen only for a period of 1 year, but they used to pay a lot for that. So, and I used to see that so much, they gained so much of confidence after that. But I understood that people suffer from so much of they were not confident about their look. So only if you I would say make them perfect in some way or the other, they can do anything. So they were not ready to face the world only because someone thought that their nose is short or their lips are too small. So all those things were there. So I got fascinated by that, and then VLCC also got me many trainings. Mainly there was one good training that I attended, and then I thought of commencing this course of cosmetology. In India there are very few courses, so there was only one institute at that time. I took training from there, and that was only for my degree, because I was already experienced in VLCC for by 4 years then. Then I thought of opening an aesthetic clinic in Guwahati, because there was none. Whenever I used to travel outside, I could see so many beautiful clinics, but there was none in Guwahati. So when I discussed with my home and my parent-in-law, my late father-in-law, Mr. Reema Mallik, he is also a very popular teacher. He used to be a very popular teacher of English in Mallik. So he was also very, he encouraged me a lot. He said, yes, you can open your clinic, you just start your clinic. Because by that time I used to sit in many chambers in Mallik, and I had good patient flow. And there only I started small procedures like chemical peeling and microneedling. I didn't have machines, but I used to do Botox also in those small pharmacies. So he encouraged me, and he and my husband, they only invested for the first time when I wanted to open my clinic, because it was a huge investment was involved. So we made a lot of study, like which machines to bring, and then we invested here in Kachhari Basti. I opened my first clinic. That was in Narayana Hospital. They gave me a space over there in a very low rent. So I started my clinic over there, and I got very good response by God's grace. And also I was backed by many of my clients in BLCC. They used to say that, Reema, if they are doing so much, why don't you do? Because all of them, they're not even MBBS doctors. So I also thought, yes, I should train myself and I should start my own. And yes, I started my own, and by God's grace, I have kept growing since then. 2015, I inaugurated my clinic in January 2015, and then I invested in some basic lasers at that time. But there were some mistakes definitely. For full sculpting, there is this machine called full sculpting, by which you can lose fat permanently from the body. I was always fascinated by this machine, and because of VLCC background, I had patients who were mostly into body contouring. They wanted to become thin. I also knew that it is not possible to become thin with this artificial measures until and unless you exercise and until and unless you diet. So all these are false. But there was one technology known as cryolipolysis which really fascinated me. I wanted to bring that technology. So first of all, I brought a machine from Korea which didn't work well, and I lost some of my patients for that because it didn't show good result. Next, again I brought another machine. It was from German technology, but that also was not that up to the mark. Then I thought, at that time full sculpting was very new in India and very few doctors had invested in it because it is very expensive. Machine is expensive, consumable is expensive, so treatment is also very expensive. So there was no clinic in entire East which had full sculpting. So I took a very big step in bringing this machine, and I was encouraged by my home also. But at that time I took loan from bank because at that time I was established, so bank were also after me to give loan. So that time I invested in machine, and by God's grace it had worked very well. The same year I lost my father-in-law, which was a very big emotional trauma to me because he used to be one of my pillar of strength. Whenever the business was low, I used to go and say, Baba, ki hobe? And he used to say, business is sab chale, don't worry. Because he was a teacher, but inside he had this entrepreneur ideas. So he used to give me ideas, and I was encouraged. In the very first year of my clinic, I was nominated as Dynamic Entrepreneur of the Year by Pharma Clinic. There is a big group from Mumbai. So one fine day I saw in Facebook. I didn't even know them. So one fine day I saw in Facebook, and it was through voting. I won that prize also, and that was my first achievement. I really cherish those moments because that was a big thing for me. In India, I got selected as a dynamic woman entrepreneur, and after that also I got many awards, but that still remains a special memory. And it was all possible because of my in-law support, I will always say. Husband is definitely there. Because of his support only I could grow, and I could take so many trainings internationally. I traveled so many times for the biggest anti-aging conference also. I keep traveling to Monaco. So all because of their encouragement, and at that period of time their support to look after my child, my only daughter. So she was growing at that time, and my in-laws took a lot of responsibility towards her, and now she is a big girl. She is 11-year-old, but that was a crucial time of my career and her development also. So I owe a lot to my in-laws, both father-in-law and mother-in-law. My mother-in-law also, till now she takes good care of the home, so I can concentrate in clinic. So it's all because of my husband, my in-laws, and also because of my parents' free spirit through which I could take so much of chance in life, because I have always taken. They never gave any restriction that you can't do this, you can't do that. I was always a free child, and that way I developed. This is the thing.